Good evening, everyone. Welcome. Very glad you're here. Good to see you, and thank you very much for tuning in. Welcome to this place, comfy, quiet little corner of the internet where we do a little drinking and a little thinking. So, yeah, brought the old Earl Grey tonight, and bring what you got, whatever it may be. I won't judge. But I just wanted to share a quick article with you all, written by the great Dr. Ron Paul himself, titled America's Most Dangerous Unknown Man, which comes to us via LouRockwell.com, and I'll link the article below in the description if you want to check it out yourself, or if you want, stick around and you can listen to the sound of my very soothing and angelic voice as I read it to you. Alright, here we go. America's Most Dangerous Unknown Man by Dr. Ron Paul. The U.S. Senate will soon vote on Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell's nomination to a second term. One of the senators opposing Powell is Elizabeth Warren. I don't often agree with Senator Warren, but I do agree with her assessment that Powell is, quote, dangerous. However, Warren actually doesn't understand what makes Powell, or any Fed chairman, intrinsically dangerous to liberty and prosperity. Warren thinks Powell is dangerous because she thinks he will not be supportive enough of imposing her desired new regulations on banks and other financial institutions. Senator Warren, like most progressives, clings to a fantastical notion that regulations benefit workers, consumers, and small businesses. The truth is, most regulations benefit large corporations by imposing costs that big businesses can easily absorb, but that their smaller competitors cannot. Powell is a threat to the American people. Under his tenure, the Fed has kept interest rates at or near zero. The Fed's balance sheet has grown to over $8 trillion. This has caused prices to climb at a rate America has not seen in several decades. At his nomination hearing before the Senate Banking Committee, Powell reiterated the Fed's intention to fight inflation by reducing its monthly $120 billion purchase of Treasury and mortgage-backed securities. Powell also stated that the Fed is planning to increase interest rates this year. However, even if the Fed follows through on this, interest rates will remain at historically low levels. Powell, like Elizabeth Warren and other progressives, dangerously believes that the Fed should go, quote, woke. However, Powell is still not, quote, woke enough for progressives who lobbied President Joe Biden to replace Powell with Fed board member Lael Brainerd, the biggest supporter of Elizabeth Warren-style regulations on the Fed board. Brainerd is more committed than Powell to using monetary and regulatory policies to advance the, quote, woke agenda. President Biden did end up nominating Brainerd to become vice chairman at the Fed. A Powell-Brainerd Fed would likely use, quote, social and climate justice as a justification for expanding the Fed's easy money policies. President Biden has recently nominated Sarah Bloom Raskin to the Fed board, who has also advocated for the Fed to use its power to fight climate change. A central bank committed to the social justice and climate change agendas will inevitably increase the Fed's, quote, inflation tax. Contrary to the claims of some progressives, lower-income Americans are primary victims of this hidden and regressive tax. Powell prefers to push his rather zealous and extremist philosophies behind the scenes. Thus, not surprisingly, he is a leading opponent of Audit the Fed. Powell claims that bringing transparency to the Fed's conduct of monetary policy would somehow jeopardize the Fed's independence. Powell's claim is truly fake news. There is nothing in the Audit the Fed bill giving Congress or the executive branch any new power over monetary policy. Any group of individuals given the power to manipulate the money supply and manipulate the interest rates that are the price of money poses a threat to our liberty and prosperity. The solution is not to replace Powell with a, quote, better Fed chairman, or to force the Fed to follow a, quote, rule that still allows it to erode the dollar's value. The only way to protect the people from dangerous individuals like Jerome Powell, Lael Brainerd, and the rest of the Fed board is to audit and then end the Fed. And there you have it. Thank you, Dr. Paul, for that once again excellent article. And he's right. The Federal Reserve is dangerous. The Federal Reserve Board is dangerous. And all these chairmen, Jerome Powell, Lyle Brainerd, Ben Bernanke, Janet Yellen, and all the ones that came before them, they're all dangerous. And if you don't believe me, just look at the simple fact that the Federal Reserve is a private bank. Okay, there's nothing federal about the Federal Reserve. It's a private bank that controls money. It's a monopoly, if you think about it. They have a government charter, which pretty much insulates them. Really insulates them from any and all competition. If you want to handle money for the federal government, you can't, right? They have literally no competition. So, yeah, they're a monopoly. And for the life of me, I'm confused. I'm baffled as to why more people don't have a problem with this. Especially liberals. Come on, you lefties who, you say you're for the people, you're against monopolies and large corporations. Well, here's one. I'm pretty sure it's the biggest one. I might be wrong on that, but it's certainly one of the biggest ones. And they control the money. And the more they print, the less purchasing power we have. We, the people. The corporations don't hurt. Amazon doesn't hurt. Walmart doesn't hurt. They can just raise their prices. The banks don't hurt. Yeah, right? The government will bail them out if they make bad home loans. And the Federal Reserve will help the government and the banks out. So, come on, guys. Let's audit the Fed, like Dr. Paul suggests, and then preferably end the Fed. It's wrong. It's morally reprehensible. And if you're scared and you think that the economy is going to crash and then the sky is going to fall, I would simply encourage you to open up a history book and realize that this is now America's third central bank. We have had plenty of years and times in our history, this country's history, without central banking, and things worked just fine. And in my opinion, and seemingly in Dr. Paul's opinion, worked phenomenally better because we didn't have a large private company messing with our money and quite literally enriching themselves. So, yeah, and the Fed. One thing I did want to point out in the article here, where Dr. Paul says, quote, "The truth is most regulations benefit large corporations by imposing costs that big businesses can easily absorb, but that their smaller competitors cannot." He hit the nail on the head there, and I might cover this in a separate video. In fact, I'd like to more in detail, but I really want to get you guys thinking about this. Businesses, large companies, right? A lot of people think that corporations hate regulation. They hate taxes, they hate all this, all this government stuff. Well, the truth is, they don't, okay? And if you don't believe me, just look at the COOF situation, all right? Government said, hey, we got to lock down, there's a COOF going around, businesses, you got to close, right? Close down. Well, guess who didn't close down? Walmart, Amazon, the big companies, they did just fine because they had lobbyists and they had lawyers and they had executives and staff and everything to, make loopholes for themselves. Meanwhile, your local salon or barber shop or gaming store or bakery, they don't have that kind of power. They don't have that kind of money. So guess what? You got to close your shop. You got to eat the costs. And too bad, boo-hoo, so sad for you. You see how that works? You see why big businesses love government regulation? It's because it lets them get ahead of their competition. Even if it is just small mom and pop shops, they don't care. They want all of them gone, right? Amazon wants to be the only player in town. Walmart wants to be the only player in town. Let's not kid ourselves here. They're not charities. So, yeah, I just wanted to bring that to your attention. Get your noggin jogging, all that stuff. Because, yeah, it's a real big myth out there. I've heard it a lot, saying that, we're going to regulate those companies and regulate the banks, and then they're going to behave. No. Do you know how many bureaucrats leave Washington, D.C. and get cushy jobs at large Wall Street banks and firms? Yeah, it's not a small number. Anyway, so I will dismount the soapbox now, but I hope you all got something out of that. Hope I didn't bore you to death with boring articles, but let me know. Let me know what you think. Leave me a comment below, and I hope you'll tune in again. I hope you have a fantastic week. Things are not going well for you. I hope they do go well for you. You know, I'll keep you in my thoughts and prayers. If things are going well for you, I pray that you help out someone who's having a hard time. And yeah, I'm a firm believer that if we stick together, we'll all be better off. So yeah, kumbaya and praise Jesus. Anyway, that being said, I think that's about it. So I think the only thing left to say is take care, everyone. Good night.